Horror villains aren't scary because they're loud. They're scary because they feel real. Because you can meet them in real life. You can talk to them. You can do normal day, every activities with them. You can trust them. And in my opinion, that's what makes them dangerous. So today I'm going to be talking about 5 horror villains that are genuinely terrifying. Not because of gore, not because of jump scares, but because of who they are. Let's get into it. Henry. Let's start with the most grounded one, shall we? Played by Michael Rooker and based on the convicted real-life serial killer Henry Lee Lucas and the crimes that he confessed to. Henry isn't theatrical, he isn't stylized, he isn't cinematic in the way most horror villains are. He just exists. And that's what makes him disturbing. There's no master plan, there's no elaborate ideology, no gothic aesthetic. He kills because he wants to, and then he moves on. The film presents violence in such a cold, detached way that it almost feels like you're watching a documentary. There's no glamorizing him, there's no cool factor, no over-the-top brutal killing scenes like we've come to expect from gory horror movies. This character is just emptiness. Henry feels like someone who could live 3 doors down, someone you may be polite to in the morning on your way to work, and hell, even ask to borrow a cup of sugar. He's that terrifying. Norman Bates. Before the era of slashers, before masked killers like Michael or Jason, there was Norman Bates. Played to perfection by Anthony Perkins, Norman is a soft-spoken, awkward, polite human being, and you almost feel sorry for him. And that's the trick. That is the piece de resistance. The brilliance of Norman isn't just the twist, it's how human he actually feels. He lives out in the middle of nowhere, he's lonely, he's vulnerable, but he's damaged. And then you realize the danger isn't a monster hiding in the shadows. It's someone smiling at you across the counter. My favorite aspect of Norman, though, is that he looks like a normal, everyday guy who you would just see in the middle of the street. And there's something deeply unsettling about that, because when you have a villain that doesn't look like one, that is scary. Annie Wilkes. Now, Annie Wilkes might be one of the most realistic horror villains ever put on screen. Played to perfection by Kathy Bates in her Oscar-winning performance, I may add. Kathy plays Annie in a way that when you first see her, you think she's doing good and she's actually a likable person. But then you see what Annie does and, well, it's not powerful in a supernatural way. She's just obsessed and unstable and completely convinced that she's right about everything. And I think we all know a few people like that ourselves. That's what makes her scary. She believes that she is the hero of her own story. Her mood swings are unpredictable. One minute she's nurturing, the next she's terrifyingly calm while doing something unthinkable, like the ankle scene. Ugh. When you're watching the movie, Annie doesn't feel like she's a movie villain. She feels like someone who lost control a long time ago, which, if you know the movie, she did. In her childhood. Hannibal Lecter. When you think of horror villains, you think of either the silent type, loud screamers. But Hannibal is neither of these. He whispers. Played to perfection in another Oscar-winning performance, this time by Anthony Hopkins, Lecter is terrifying because he never raises his voice. He doesn't need to, he studies you, and he understands you. And within minutes, he knows exactly where to cut you. Psychologically. The scariest thing about Hannibal isn't what he does on or off screen. It's how intelligent he is. For villains, we never see people like Hannibal. He's sophisticated, he loves the finer things in life. And one of the best things about Hannibal, he's always in control. Even when he's locked up in his cell, even restrained, he feels like the smartest person in every room. And that imbalance of power is deeply unsettling for anyone. You're not afraid he'll attack you. You're afraid he already knows and how to dismantle you. John Doe. And number 1 for me is John Doe, played by Kevin Spacey in one of his greatest roles ever. He might be the most disturbing villain of all time as well in all of film, because he genuinely believes that he is doing something meaningful and that he's right. He's calm, he's thoughtful, he's articulate, and absolutely convinced that his actions are justified. All you need to do to see this is the car ride onto the famous ending of Seven. That ideological certainty is horrifying. John Doe doesn't just kill you, he makes a point. And the final act of this film proves something even worse. He was always in control. Not physically, but mentally. The way he dismantles every single person in the movie just shows how in control he actually is. He made a detective become a murderer just to prove a point. And that kind of villain lingers long after the credits roll. The scariest horror villains aren't monsters. They're everyday people. They don't rely on jump scares or buckets of blood. They just rely on psychology, manipulation, believability. And that is what sticks with you. If I missed someone you think genuinely belongs on this list, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoy horror that gets under your skin instead of in your face, stick around, we got plenty more to come. So I'll see you all in the next video. Sleep well.